Good evening, everyone. My name is Aeron Pascua. We are the group 5, and the topic that given to us is materials, management, purchasing, and inventory in hospital settings. Now, Shairaa will be starting our report. Shairaa, please start.
So, what is materials management system? Is the process which integrates the flow of supplies into, through and out of the organization to achieve a level of service which ensures that the right materials are available at the right place at the right time in the right quantity and quality and at the right cost. Material management is a method for planning, organizing, and controlling the activities that are related to the flow of materials in a company. This can lead to the control of the location, movement, and time of those materials from their introduction, production, manufacturing process, and final delivery. Inventory control. Inventory control is the one of the biggest expenses for most medical institutions. Inventory control plays an important part in the refining the quality of healthcare services since lives of people are on the line and medical costs are increasing. Inventory control is also known as stock control, refers to the process of managing a company's warehouse inventory levels. The inventory control process involves managing items from the moment they are ordered, throughout their storage, movement, and usage, and to their final destination of disposal. These are the strategies in improving inventory control in the healthcare facility. First, ensuring shipment accuracy. These are checking shipment of for accuracy means ensuring that the received items are the ones and ordered and the supplies are free from possible damages during transit. Second, aligning with sales projections. This is coming up with inventory tracking report in comparison with actual sales improved to be a challenge in the field of medicine. However, it is necessary to prevent wastage, identify trends, and ensure that there is no excess inventory. Third, complying with regulations. The health institution should be responsive to the current trend and need to the highly regulated healthcare industry. Regulators monitor health institutions and determine the success or failure of companies to serve the best interests of the patients. Lastly, establishing buying cycles. Buying cycles should be determined and understood by inventory personnel based on the previous cycles so that inventory ordering becomes manageable through elimination of storages and overages. The said cycle determines the trends and adjustment that can be made accordingly.
What is indent? Indent is basically raised by stores asking for materials needed which are present in the store. It is basically a letter raised by employees of an institute asking for materials needed which are present in the store. After an indent is raised, the indent is sent to an authorized approval. Inquiries and quotations for drugs, consumables, assets, and general items. First is inquiries. It is any process that has the aim of argumenting knowledge, resolving doubts, or solving a problem. A theory of inquiry is an account of various types of inquiry and treatment of the ways that each type of inquiry achieves its aim. Second is quotation. It is a document that a seller provides to a buyer to offer goods or service at a stated price under specific conditions. The third is order. Order is an instruction to buy or sell at trading venues such as a stock market, bond market, financial market, and exchange. These instructions can be simple or complicated and can be sent to either a broker or direct to a trading venue via direct market access. Fourth is invoice. It is a time-stamped commercial document that itemizes and records a transaction between a buyer and a seller. Fifth is document. It is a written or drawn, presented, or memorized presentations of thoughts, often manifested of fiction and non-fictional content. Quotation and preferred vendors. Purchase quotations is written financial proposal received by customers from the vendor regarding the inquiry being filed. In business, product selling and purchasing involves two aspects. One is from the vendor side and the other is the customer side. Companies typically maintain a list of preferred vendors. They look for a vendor who has on-time performance, offers a reasonable cost, provides high-quality performance and services, etc.
Purchase request, orders, and approval. Purchase request or purchase requisition is a document that notifies the purchasing department that certain items or services need to be replenished. The document stipulates the time frame and requires quantities for the requested time. It is also contains authorizations to acquire assets. Purchase request, it is a document detailing the required items, the number required, and when they will be required. It details what items and services are required, the quantity, supplier, and associated costs. Purchase orders, legally binding contract which shows that the seller has already accepted the order issued by the buyers. So purchase orders, it is a contract between the buyer and the seller. It is a document issued by a buyer committing to pay the seller for the sale, product, and service to be delivered in the future. And it contains information about the buyer and the seller, which are the name, address, contact details, quantity, unit, and total price of the description or address, billing address, and authorized signature. Approval process. Approval process, it is a method that is used by an organization or seller to approve anything from the document and purchases orders to a new process which is the delivery of your product. And the person who creates the document, either a purchase request or a purchase order, is called the originator. Receiving and tracking items. The following policies should be followed for proper receipt and inspection of goods. Number 1. Signing for deliveries. The person who receives the delivery should inspect the delivered items before signing the receiving document and the packing list. The document should be submitted to the appropriate department for reconciliation. So signing for deliveries, it is the proof of delivery that the recipient received the shipment in good condition. Number 2, refusing delivery. The receiving department should refuse to accept any shipment if the packaging appears to the to damage or if there is any item that does not have corresponding purchase order. So refusing delivery, a recipient has the right to refuse if the order arrived is not in good condition and if the order is not in her purchase request. Third, record retention. The packing list should be provided to the receiving department during delivery to ensure that there is proper documentation since it is taking possession and legal ownership of the delivered items. So record retention, it is a process by which to assure that the delivery to whom it possess to whom who possesses it. The record retention is the documentation of the deliveries. Number four, inspecting a shipment. The personnel receiving the items should inspect the goods to ensure that the following minimum conditions are met. Letter A. The received items match the requirements stated in the purchase order. Letter B. The quantity is correct. Letter C. The item has no damage, discoloration, and issues. Letter D. The quantity per unit of measurement is accurate. Letter E. Packing list, certifications, and other delivery documentations are completely provided. Letter F. Perishable items should be in good condition and have not reached the expiration dates. Letter G. The items are functioning properly. So, inspecting a shipment is carried out to make sure that the goods are correctly handled and safely loaded to the shipping containers for safe transportation and delivery to its final destination.
So the partial deliveries, items are delivered partially without proper notification from the supplier. This should be also typically noted in packing list, in receiving documents. And also we have record retention. The packing list should be provided to receive the department during delivery to ensure that there is proper documentation since it is are taking possession and illegal ownership of the delivered items.
Purchase returns along with returnable and non-returnable gate pass. Purchase returns are defective or substandard quality goods, incorrect order delivery, and deteriorated purchases and sold items are usually common in business. Movement of inventory is not limited to purchase return. Supplies required to be taken out of the department for repairs or consignment. The system can be configured to track returnable and non-returnable items or equipment. It can also be set to monitor due dates for returnable items and to provide detailed reports about the status of different inventory items. So purchase returns is when the buyers of merchandise, inventory, fixed assets, or other items is sent back good to the seller. And it's also important is when was the expiration date and when was the due date for the returnable items. Consignment stocks, consumption, and regularization. In the process of consignment, the vendor or the consignor issues materials to the receiver or consignes, and these materials are stored in the consignee's premises. The vendors maintain the legal ownership until such materials are removed from consignment stores. The invoice is due to permitted intervals. So consignment is when the shop sells goods for an owner. The owner keeps the ownership of his items until it sells. If it sells, as the owner, you'd pay the small fee to the shop as compensations for them to selling your item. Expired stocks and quarantine. Expired stocks is when the expiration dates and decrease in values of item must be reflected in the financial record, so discrepancies in financial statements will prevented. The amount that reduces inventory in the record is recognized as a loss, which equates to a reduction in profit. So, Expired stocks is, in general, the longer a stock has to expiration, the more the item it has to reach its strike price, and thus the more value it has. There are two types of option. It calls calls and puts. So expiration stocks are very important in manufacture so that it could be maintained the stocks and quarantine stocks or inventory. When I decided about how to handle defective goods, whether to be sold as scrap, reworked, returned, or used as it is, a quarantine location or a warehouse can be used to temporarily house them until a final destination is reached. Inventory is put into quarantine if it is initially rejected during. So when there are defective products or goods products or products that has been sold and been returned, they're going to put on a warehouse or a quarantine stock so that they will be temporarily put in there until there will be a final decision if it's going to be sell or it's going to be reject. So production upon completion of an operation when specifies add, move rejected end item to quarantine. So these are the items that can be put into quarantine. We have manufacture end items, the purchase items, sold items on sales or return orders. We have enterprise planning distribution orders. We have outbound inspection upon issues of materials to production. So these are the inspection before it going to be a quarantine house or the inventory stock.
So, drugs and consumable issues and returns to patients. Um, this nagarahan, um, 2017, that 30 to 50% of hospitals' charges are actually attributable to diagnostics, drugs, and consumables, and doctors get only between 10 to 20%. For both hospitals and patients, drugs and consumables take up the bulk of expenditure, is why materials management is critical for hospitals to optimize the investments in these kinds of consumable assets. Um, these have a functional inventory databases. Lack of integration does not give them holistic information, and this affects decision making both on managerial level and during day-to-day operations. Also, there are three issues methods that is crucial function for any product-oriented business. There are three issues methods is a crucial function for any product-oriented business. There are FIFO, LIFO, and FIFO. FIFO means first in, first out. LIFO means last in, first out. FIFO means first expired, first out. So, FIFO means inventory items are sold based on the order they are purchased. And this is most common technique. LIFO, these items is to enter the system are sold first. This is common among non-perishable items like petroleum, minerals, and metals. FIFO or FEFO means materials are sold based on the dates they should be consumed regardless of when they were purchased. So, what is genetic task? Materials management systems usually allow tasks rates to be defined internally via task codes or imported from an external source. So these materials management system usually allow task rates um, and it has the following taxes that can usually be processed processed that documents are tax on sales and purchases, additional taxes like VAT, sales and use tax in USA, and withholding tax like income tax in India. So the automatic calculation of tax thus during the purchasing process makes the process less susceptible to clerical errors. So we have periodic physical stock taking and adjustment with tracking. So this inventory account is a process where a business physical counts its entire inventory. Physical inventory may be mandated by financial accounting, um, task regulations to place an accurate value on the inventory, or the business may need to count inventory do component parts or raw materials can be restocked. So we have four um, business may use following tactics to minimize the disruption caused by physical inventory. First, inventory services provide labor and automation to quickly count inventory and minimize shutdown time. Second, inventory control system. Software can speed up the physical inventory process. A perpetual inventory system tracks that receipt and use of inventory and calculate the quality on hand. Fourth, cycle counting, an alternative to physical inventory, may be less disruptive.